I just want to talk about things that happened to me in my childhood and still affect me today. Not in a dramatic way, but in everyday ways that shape how I think, how I see myself, and how I now move through life. Not sharing this because I've got it all figured out. I'm sharing it because understanding this stuff helped me, and maybe if it can help you too, and make you think a bit clearer, then that's great. Um, Welcome to Your Life, Your Terms, a channel about mindset and trying to honestly live on your terms. I don't give advice from a pedestal. I just talk about what I've lived, what I've learned, and what I'm still trying to work out myself. If that sounds like your kind of thing, subscribe. It generally helps the channel grow. When I was a kid, um, I was naturally quite shy. I was always used to hide behind my mum and dad's legs when adults were around. Um, don't know, something scary about adults. Don't know why. But when there was ever a family party, always used to love to dance. And whenever I danced, that seemed to get all the adults' attention. I think I was pretty tasty at the time. Um, and people used to comment, "Oh, no, look at him, look, dancing. He's good little dancer, isn't he?" And I don't know, I just loved the attention. I lapped it up at the time. And at that particular moment, I felt special. Um, and I think I felt watched, if that makes sense. And just felt different. I felt, well, I can do something no one else can do. I must have a talent. Um, I didn't obviously knew what that meant at the time, but I suppose that's what it was. And it was just that later on, my mum and dad, I was brought up on holiday camps every year. We used to go to some sort of holiday camp, and I used to put myself in for the talent competition because I was also good at singing. Obviously, I'm a bit older now, but a bit older at that time going to holiday camps. I wasn't a toddler as such, so I suppose I was thinking, probably about 8 or 9. But because I used to, in particular, Elvis songs, and I used to put myself into these talent competitions, and I always used to win. Uh, and again, that feeling of winning something, that feeling of people looking at me, applauding me. Obviously I could hear the comments, "Oh, he's good, isn't he? He's good." After winning the competition, people coming up to me or my mum and dad saying, "Oh, your kid's good, isn't he? He's good at singing." Again, it just made me feel special. And in actual fact, I remember one particular time, the resident group or band said to my mum, "Dad, look, could your kid come up with us?" I think it was the next night or that same night, I can't remember, and sing his song. We'll get him. They dressed me up in black velvet trousers, white frilly shirt, black bow tie, and there I was with this band in front of a few hundred people, singing an Elvis song. So I don't know what it was. I just used to turn into this different person when I used to get up on that stage. And funny enough, I used to hear people say, "Oh, I could never do what you could." I even remember my dad saying to me, "I couldn't do what you do." So even at that stage, I knew, I had this special talent. But then obviously as later I got older, later in life, school turned up, and I remember going into my senior school, and my first day at senior school, this particular school had a rule that you got to take an exam. Now you got to remember this is my first exam ever in my life, age 11. I think the 11 plus at that particular time had just finished, but anyway, this is my version of the 11 plus. And it was their way of filtering out the kids, their IQ, their view of an IQ, to segment you and put you in what class they thought your the class that you were supposed to go in. Excuse me. So, and obviously I must have failed miserably because the lettering system, can't remember the exact lettering system, but my particular class that was put in was called D, class D. And as you can imagine, and it was the bottom class, so you can imagine the other kids, D for dopey, D for dunce. That's the stigma you got. And I'm curious because I just think what's interesting also is because at the same time as people were saying that, and I was put in a D class, in my drama class, my teacher told me, and in my school report, that I was a natural at drama. So it's funny, isn't it? Same kid, getting two different messages. And this is generally where I want your thoughts. Do you think it's right to label a kid at 11, put them in a different class? Not a different class, but split the kids up with what they think on one exam, judge you on one exam? Is that right? Wrong? What do you think? Do they still do it now? I don't know. Do you think that's the right way? Do you think they should do it in a different way today? Let me know in the comments. Really be interested to know what you think here. Your take on it. And also, remember moving on a bit now. Do you remember I think it was can't remember, was it the end of the third year or beginning of the third year? I can't remember, where you got to choose your subjects. And I remember your mum and dad saying, well, look, come and sit down, we've got to have a word with you. You've got to choose your subjects. Really important, because this is going to choose what exams you're going to take at the end of your, in year 5. So mum and dad said, well, look, what do you want to do when you leave school? So I'm 12, 13. Let's say I'm 13. I think you're really, my opinion is you're really, really, always looking back, I was always sort of jealous of the kids that knew what they wanted to do when they left school. I had half an idea, because I didn't have a clue. But, how many kids know at that age realistically? Not many. But anyway, so my mum and dad sat me down and said, okay, all right, son, what do you want to do when you leave school? What do you want to do the rest of your life? So I said, well, the only thing I think I'm good at and naturally at is acting. So I saw my dad's brain going round. Okay, all right, the only thing I would say to that, if that's what you really want to do, he said, my advice would be, get a job first. You don't want to go out of school with no money in your pocket. Your mates will be earning money, you won't. So you don't want to do that. And remember, acting is you're going to be in and out of work for the rest of your life. My advice would be probably get a job first, see how it goes, go from there. So, again, I'm interested. Do you think that's the right thing? What could have what was the what would have my I don't blame me parents. They love me. They was only trying to give me the right advice. Um, I don't blame them. The thought was right, but I'm curious. Do you think parents should protect their kids from risk, um, or encourage them to follow their dream, or what makes them light up? What do you think? Again, your comments be really interesting to see what you're saying at. Because looking back, I realised I had something special, um, and I got buried under labels and fear. Um, Even so, there was moments at school where they kept the spark alive. I remember appearing in a play called Coriolanus, of all plays, and my parents coming to watch me in that very proud moment. And these moments matter, I think, more than what you realise. Um, um, and another moment, I remember, this is after school. Do you remember? I don't know if they still do it now. They probably do. Um, when you've been left for about a few, let's say 6 months after you left school, you just go back to see some of the teachers, because they want to know how you're getting on, etc., etc. And I always remember this one moment when I was walking up the corridor and I saw my old sports teacher. Now, the words what he used were, I think, quite incredible, really. But and to this day, stick with me. He just looked at me and said, "Whatever happened to you?" And I knew exactly at that moment what he meant, because he was looking at me up and down, and he was referring to my height, because in about again, we're talking a long time ago. I can't remember the exact age, but I stopped growing, I think, when I was about 13, something like that. And I stopped when I was about 5'2.5". That half's really important. And so I knew exactly what he was referring to, because he made it quite clear. And I thought, what a thing to say to a 16-year-old trying to make his way in life. Right, and my view is, when I look back, he probably should have said something like, "Hi, how you doing? Nice to see you. What are you up to?" But those words just stuck with me. What a thing to say. And again, what do you think he should have said? What would have been the right thing to say? And what have you ever had words like that have sort of, still to this day you remember? Really weird. And when I look back now, I can see our early confidence, careless labels, well-meant advice, and powerful words all shaped me. Understanding that stopped me seeing myself as behind, and started to see myself as a person unfolding. By the way, if you like this kind of honest reflection, what I'm building alongside Your Life, Your Terms is something called King Shorty. It's about backing yourself even when the world tells you not to. Still building that, more to come. I'll give you more information on that as we go along. If any of this videos is resonated with you, let me know your thoughts below. These conversations really matter more than what you think. Thanks for watching. Live life on your terms. Goodbye.